Chapter 1146, Four Races Alliance. Translator. Atlas Studios at Editor. Atlas Studios. 3 days went by. Underground of the icy plain, Earth Mother Altar. 4 incense sticks were lit, and the smoke coiled up to the air. Gu immortals were standing by a side with solemn expressions. The four camps clearly differentiated. Fang Yuan was also among them. The people beside him were Lang Sects, hairy man Gu immortals. A melodious bugle call resounded, and then the drums roared. Shizong took a large step ahead during the drum sounds, speaking in a loud voice. I, Gu immortal Shizong of the Rockman tribe, am willing to join the Four Races Alliance. From today onwards, the four races shall be united. We shall share fortune and woe together. He then activated his immortal essence, causing some changes in the Earth Mother altar. The smoke that was curling up in the air surged towards Shizong, and after coiling around for a dozen breaths, they completely merged into Shizong's body, adding on information path Dao marks. It seems to be an ancient method, Fang Yuan inwardly pondered. Originally, the hairy men were discussing about an alliance with the allied group of Snowman and Rockman tribes, but the matter went unexpectedly smoothly, as both sides were increasingly in agreement with the alliance. The hairy men's side even took the initiative to mention bringing Inkman City in too. After the allied group of Snowmen and Rockmen understood the details, they agreed to it. Long-hair ancestor and immortal Yin were publicly known to be bosom friends in history. Long-hair ancestor left Lang blessed land behind, while immortal Yin founded Inkman City. The Inkmen and hairy men from these places thus always had close relations. Since the hairy men's side vouched for the Inkmen, the allied Rockmen and Snowmen tribes also chose to believe them. As a result, the discussion between the three sides became one involving four variant human races. Finally, the three sides reached a consensus and were willing to form an alliance, sharing hardships together and assisting each other from now on. The current scene was a result of that. The three sides used an ancient information path method to officially form an alliance. Gu immortals took turns to go forward and accept the effect of the information path Dao marks. As such, they became members of the Four Races Alliance. Time passed. Fang Yuan gradually understood some of the mechanics. This does not seem to be an orthodox information path method, but instead Earth Path is used to get the effect of information path. Just like my time path immortal killer move, 100 Years Harmony. Fang Yuan's heart sank as he thought of this. It was going to be troublesome if he wanted to break this alliance agreement in the future, because it did not seem likely that he could resolve it using information path. Most probably, it needed to be resolved with Earth Path methods. Elder Fang Yuan, it's your turn. At this time, 12th Hair reminded softly from the side in a warm tone. Speaking of which, ever since the matter of the falling star hound was resolved, and the news of Fang Yuan obtaining an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle was known, the hairy Mangu immortal's attitudes towards Fang Yuan had a complete change, becoming reverential, forming a stark contrast from before. Fang Yuan nodded and walked to the front without hesitation, and just like what the Rockman Gu immortal Shizong did, he allowed the incense smoke to imprint on his body. His every action was being observed by the immortals present on the scene. Seeing that he had truly joined the alliance, the group of immortals slightly relaxed, letting go of another layer of worry. The smile on Shui Air became even more lovely. Little could they imagine that Fang Yuan was already thinking of how to break the restrictions of the alliance agreement. He naturally could not follow along with the aims and mindsets of these variant humans. Even entering Lang Ye sect was to make it more convenient to use Lang Ye blessed land strength. Similarly, joining this Four Races Alliance was because Fang Yuan was forced by the situation and also because it would be easier for him to borrow the strength of the alliance to help in his cultivation. To truly have me be of the same faction as variant humans and resist humans, that is impossible. Humans have absolute dominance. Even if these four variant human tribes have allied, what can they do? However, this strength also cannot be underestimated. In my first life, did these four groups really ally? Fang Yuan's thoughts had started to drift as he pondered. He did not know the answer to this question in his first life. He had been a rank 6 blood path Gu immortal. In matters regarding the Northern Plains Gu immortal world, he did not have enough understanding, especially these kinds of behind-the-scenes details, Even Northern Plains Goo immortals might not be aware. But I do know there had been no news of these snowman and rockman tribes in my first life. Maybe they were annihilated, or maybe they were still living, hiding from the world. Langya Blessed Land had also not established a sect, and was finally destroyed by Heavenly Court. On the contrary, the Inkman tribe did surprisingly well. As he thought of this, Fang Yuan sneaked a glance at Mo Tansang. This person only had rank 6 cultivation and cultivated Chi path. Chi path had much longer history than strength path, but was similarly a declining Gu cultivation path. Mo Tansang had a middle-aged appearance. He had black skin and thick white hair. He appeared quite dignified when he did not smile, and when he smiled, he gave people a feeling of great closeness. This person is also a formidable character. Fang Yuan inwardly appraised. He remembered that in the 5 regions chaotic war, this Mo Tansang took advantage of the lack of attention paid to him due to the human tribes being too busy in their internal conflicts to develop rapidly, greatly expanding the Inkman forces. When the Northern Plains human forces wanted to suppress him, he actually disregarded his dignity as the king and threw himself to Lu tribe. He took a servant's right to Lu tribe's supreme elder and became a servant to him. Lu tribe was one of the super forces, thus the Inkman forces were protected. The Inkman forces grew stably under this layer of protection. Later, when Lu tribe weakened, the Inkman king immediately gave up on Lu tribe to collaborate with Ma Hongyun on equal terms. Before Fang Yuan self-detonated, the Inkmen had hundreds of cities and occupied 1/3 of Northern Plains lands. If Fang Yuan were to talk of such a scale and force, no one would believe him. In this 4 races alliance, the Inkman tribe was undoubtedly the weakest, but in Fang Yuan's first life, it was the Inkmen who were thriving. Mo Tansang knew when to advance and when to yield. He was a spiritual figure representing the rise of the Inkman tribe. At the same time, it was also because of the external environment. In the 5 regions chaotic war, all order collapsed. Opportunities and risks were everywhere. If sensing Fang Yuan's gaze, Mo Tansang turned back to look at Fang Yuan, immediately smiling, expressing sincerity and kindness. This kindness was so deep and clear that when he smiled, he was almost bowing, even giving the feeling of some flattery. Fang Yuan snorted inwardly. While returning the smile on the surface, Mo Tansang's expression changed slightly, showing a feeling of excitement at being recognized by an important person. If it were others, they would have probably felt a sense of superiority and smugness at this moment. Truly formidable. Fang Yuan's own acting skills were beyond ordinary, but this Mo Tansang before him was on par with him. The world is big, experts and talents emerge every generation. I absolutely cannot look down on these champions. Fang Yuan inwardly reminded himself, his mind remaining cool without any fluctuations. Northern Plains situation could be described as going through one wave after another. The storm of He tribe's collapse and takeover by Baizu tribe had yet to settle down. Old ancestor Shui who began refining fortune rivaling Heaven Gu, attracting the gazes of the whole of Northern Plains Gu immortal world. And behind their backs, at an unknown, secluded area, for variant human races, hairy men, snowmen, rockmen, and inkmen, had quietly formed an alliance. Although variant humans were absolutely in a weaker position, this alliance could not be looked down upon, because it possessed a rank 8 battle strength immemorial rock dragon. Of course, in the minds of the other alliance members, there was also Fang Yuan's upper extreme heavenly eagle. Fang Yuan was forced to join them. But what made him feel slightly at ease was there were no wisdom path Gu immortal among these 4 tribes. After the alliance was formed, Fang Yuan's loss was obvious. That was, from now on, he could not undergo tribulation in the northern icy plain. This no doubt would influence Fang Yuan greatly, but he had no choice. Undergoing tribulation here meant consuming earth chi, which was the greatest damage to the Rockman's home. This was the reason why these Rockmen and Snowmen did not stint on cost to set up the battlefield killer move, Gray Cloud Battle Puppet, to kill Fang Yuan. But besides loss, Fang Yuan also had gains. He cleared the way for trading with the Rockman and Snowman tribes, letting his monthly earnings reach a new level. Leaving aside the Snowmen, the main point were the Rockmen. Their desire towards Guts Gu was higher than humans. The reason? It was obvious when one considered the time Fang Yuan used. Guts Gu to increase the population of rockmen in Hu immortal blessed land. Guts Gu was the best way to grow and develop rockmen tribes. Besides this, Fang Yuan also sold some resources he obtained from Fan Grotto Heaven to the rockmen, snowmen, and inkmen, making great profits, causing Sixth Hair to worry and rage on the inside. Fang Yuan's gains are so huge. What should I do? How can we restrain him in the future? It was time to bid farewell. Elder Fang Yuan, you really need to leave so soon? You could stay for another day or two. Shui'er attempted to persuade Fang Yuan to stay. Fang Yuan shook his head, saying with a warm smile, "We have formed an alliance. This matter is too important. I need to personally return to report to Langya Land Spirit. You can rest assured, I will be back. We can be considered to be friends made from fighting, and I feel quite fond of this place." Fang Yuan was interested in the Snowman Gu Immortals Ice and Snow Path Immortal Gu, as well as their killer moves. These two were very suitable for him. After all, in terms of Dao marks, the highest quantity in his body were currently Ice and Snow Path Dao marks that as per the relation between him and the Snowman tribe currently, along with rank 8 battle strength publicly, he could exchange Immortal Gu. But Fang Yuan did not plan to give up any of his Immortal Gu. He had a better plan. For instance, someday in the future, when a certain variant human Gu Immortal cannot pass their tribulation and required his time path Immortal Killer move to slow the time in their immortal aperture at that time, Fang Yuan could take the chance to demand Immortal GU.I in the past. Fan did this many times and obtained a sizable number of Immortal Gu. Shui'er naturally did not know this handsome young man in front of her was harboring evil intent with his mind full of schemes. She lowered her head as she saw Fang Yuan was intent on leaving, revealing hesitation and a struggling expression. But soon, her eyes revealed firm intent as she raised her head and handed an item in her hand to Fang Yuan. "Elder Fang Yuan, take this as my farewell gift to you." Shui'er tried to keep a calm exterior as she spoke, but her voice was still shaking. Fang Yuan glanced at the item. It was an ice teardrop. Chapter 1147, Making Chu Do Change Sides? Ice tears were not an immortal material, but was still precious, widely loved by both Gu Masters and Gu Immortals. Ice tears originated from snowmen. Snowmen survived in icy environments. Snowmen normally did not cry or laugh, so their tears were very rare. The majority of the snowmen would never experience crying from joy or pain in their lives. But if they shed tears, the tears would immediately condense into ice tears. Snowmen could shed tears at most 3 times in their lives, and the number would not surpass 60 drops. Every time they shed tears, the snowman's lifespan and life essence would decrease by a huge amount. If the snowman shed too many tears, they would rapidly age, quickening their death. Ice tears were rare as well. Transactions of ice tears had always been flourishing in Treasure Yellow Heaven. Long ago, Shuesongzi had particularly engaged in selling snowmen, supplying them to other Gu Immortals to torment and get the ice tears that as far as human Gu Immortals were concerned, ice tears were a precious Gu refinement material. But to snowmen, ice tears had another significant meaning. That was a token of love. That's right, snowmen. This race had male and female genders, unlike rockmen who were purely male. During the marriage of snowmen, they would often exchange ice tears. This action had extremely huge meaning to snowmen. "This is an ice tear." Fang Yuan's eyes brightened, holding it in front of his eyes and making detailed observation. Don't look at it like that. Quickly place it down." Shui'er's voice was soft and anxious. There were many people present. Holding the ice tear like that in public was sure to be noticed. Sure enough, the next moment, Shui'er heard those Gu Immortals' surprised sounds. Shui'er quickly lowered her head, her face flushing red with shyness. She handed the ice tear to Fang Yuan, which was as good as expressing her love. Although she had mustered her courage before, now that so many people were looking at her, she was truly embarrassed. "Speaking of it, I have heard of this strange Gu material long ago. I have now finally seen it personally. Thank you, Shui'er. This gift is pretty good. Maybe I should refine it into some Gu worm." Fang Yuan cheerfully spoke. Shui'er's body visibly shook. Fang Yuan turned a blind eye to it, continuing, "But a drop of ice tear is still too little. It would be good if there were some more. Why are there no transactions of ice tears? It is truly regretful. As Shui listened, the shy redness in her face had already dissipated, replaced by pale white. Her head was lowered even more, her sight turning blurry as tears started to form in them. This fool. Bingzhua could not see it continue, as he inwardly cursed and walked over. The other variant human goo immortals were tongue-tied, not knowing what to say. Shui suddenly raised her head, her back facing Fang Yuan as she called out to Bingzhua, "Brother Bingzhua." Bingzhua gritted his teeth. An intense pity rose up in his heart as he saw Shui's pale white expression. He knew Shui was shy. It had already taken a lot of her courage to hand over the ice tear just now. Maybe she had also felt an impulsive urge in her mind. Fang Yuan did not know the meaning of the ice tear. If he criticized Fang Yuan now in front of everyone, would it not put Shui in an even more embarrassing situation? Thinking of this, Bingzhua could only swallow the words that were in his mouth, saying something else. "Elder Fang Yuan, I had many gains from battling you. Next time, we should spar properly again." When he mentioned sparring, he intentionally made his voice heavier, along with some gnashing noise. Shui was young and beautiful. Her talent was outstanding and her cultivation was high. She had all along been receiving the attention and favor of the tribe. It was just that there was no man in the same generation worthy of her. This time, she felt feelings for Fang Yuan. Although he was a human goo immortal, the snowman goo immortals felt they could accept him. Rockmen had their earth mother. Could our snowmen not have a snow father? If Shui could marry Fang Yuan, the snowman tribe would possess the backing of an immemorial desolate beast. But who could have thought Fang Yuan to not be aware of the tradition of these variant humans, treating the ice tear as a common goo material, making the whole situation awkward? Even Shui was put on the spot. Fang Yuan smiled and patted Bingzhua's shoulder. "All right. I promise you if there is an opportunity in the future, we will spar again. Okay, everyone, I am taking my leave. No need to send me off. We shall meet again in the future." Ha ha. Fang Yuan laughed heartily and walked away. Adorned in a white robe with long black hair, he looked handsome and extremely carefree. Shui's gaze even turned somewhat dazed. Bingzhua, however, gnashed his teeth, wanting nothing more than to chop this kid Fang Yuan into pieces. This can't do. When he has gone far enough, I need to send him a letter, telling him the meaning of the ice tear properly. The journey back to Langya Blessed Land was smooth and without any obstacles. Seeing Langya Land's spirit again, the attitude of the first supreme elder of Langya sect towards Fang Yuan had underwent a huge change. "You truly inherited He Fan's true inheritance? You possess methods to slow the time of an immortal aperture? Also, you actually have an immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle. Quickly take it out." Langya Land's spirit excitedly asked. Fang Yuan shook his head bitterly and took out the corpse of the upper extreme heavenly eagle. Langya Land's spirit was stunned on the spot. Fang Yuan informed Langya Land's spirit of the whole event. "A grand immemorial desolate beast was actually starved to death by you? But fortunately, you still have the egg. That's good. That's good. The upper extreme heavenly eagle's special point is this." Langya Land's spirit came back to his senses and looked at Fang Yuan with a burning gaze. "Sell this upper extreme heavenly eagle's egg to me. We can make a deal." Fang Yuan laughed. "I can sell this egg." Langya Land's spirit was joyous. Fang Yuan continued, "But I am afraid you don't have any heavenly crystals to raise it. Even Treasure Yellow Heaven has very few transactions of heavenly crystals. Naturally, heavenly crystals can only be produced in Grotto Heavens or the immemorial 9 heavens. This is a very precious and rare rank 8 immortal material. Right now, only Black Heaven and White Heaven remain from the immemorial 9 heavens, while the number of rank 8 goo immortals have always been few. Moreover, among these rank 8 goo immortals, some are unable to produce heavenly crystals." As he spoke until here, Langya Land's spirit shifted his words. "But you don't have to worry about this. My Langya Blessed Land was once Langya Grotto Heaven. It had once produced heavenly crystals. Besides this, in the past, my main body had also hoarded a large batch of heavenly crystals from the immemorial 9 heavens. Since that is the case, I can rest at ease. I will sell it to you." Fang Yuan nodded. Lang Yalan's spirit laughed heartily. Fang Yuan, since you are one of us, I absolutely won't let you suffer a loss. Luck path true inheritance, thieving heaven true inheritance, or long hair true inheritance. Choose as you please. Fang Yuan's tone sank. What? I am not too interested in these things. Moreover, isn't this price somewhat low to exchange for a rank 8 battle strength? Lang Yalan's spirit's smile stiffened. He thought for a bit and nodded. It is indeed so. Then, how about exchanging with my Luo Po Valley? Dang Hun Mountain and Luo Po Valley were secluded domains of heaven and earth, unique in the whole world. But compared to rank 8 battle strength, Lang Yalan's spirit would not hesitate to give up on the former and choose the latter. Price is too low. Not selling. Not selling. Fang Yuan refused. Lang Yalan's spirit scratched his head. How about this? I am willing to give up Heavenly Essence Treasure Imperial Lotus, as well as the incomplete Immortal Goo House Refinement Cauldron in exchange for your upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Fang Yuan's heart jumped, but he still shook his head. It is still not enough, not selling. Lang Yalan's spirit was furious. Then give me a price. How much will you sell it for? Fang Yuan smiled, emphasizing, this is of rank 8 battle strength. Lang Yalan's spirit naturally was not foolish, as he retorted, it is indeed of rank 8 battle strength, but it needs to be fed. Do you have heavenly crystals? Also, even if you raise the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle, will it listen to you? To tell you the truth, you were really lucky this time, starving the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle to death. If not for this, according to my understanding, this upper extreme Heavenly Eagle only needs to have some strength left to directly crush you, an ant who tried to enslave it, to death. Fang Yuan smiled. If so, I am willing to use sect contribution points to exchange for heavenly crystals to raise the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle. Anyway, I am a supreme elder of Langya's sect, and also one of the members of the Four Races Alliance. In the future, if the sect needs me, I will naturally appear. Lang Yalan's spirit was stumped, pondering upon it before he pointed at Fang Yuan's nose and scolded. Good brat. You had no intent to sell it in the first place, and were just making things difficult for me. Fang Yuan immediately showed a serious expression, speaking earnestly. How could I easily give up a rank 8 battle strength? But making things difficult for First Supreme Elder, how could I have such thoughts? It is just that the price is indeed too low. As he said this, he suddenly thought of another intention of He Fan. Even if He Fan's true inheritance was inherited by one of the Gu immortals in the Grotto Heaven, He Fan had left the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle in Iron Eagle Blessed Land. With this immemorial desolate beast, even if there was not an inheritor, it would be an extremely huge gain to the tribe. Lang Yalan's spirit sighed, knowing well that Fang Yuan was not wrong. So he stopped persisting on buying. On one hand, the upper extreme Heavenly Eagle had already become an egg, making him greatly disappointed. On the other hand, Fang Yuan was not only bound by Lang Ya's alliance agreement, he had also joined the Four Races Alliance, which put Lang Yalan's spirit at ease. Finally, he, more or less, knew Fang Yuan's nature. Such an ambitious and audacious guy like you absolutely won't easily give up on a rank 8 battle strength. But if you want to use sect contribution points to exchange for Lang Ya's sect's heavenly crystals, it won't be easy. Heavenly crystals are rank 8 immortal materials. The contribution points you have are many, but you would still not be able to afford them. Lang Yalan's spirit's mood became better as he said this. With heavenly crystals at hand, he could entice Fang Yuan to work for Lang Ya's sect. By now, Lang Yalan's spirit had no choice but to admit Fang Yuan was strong and resourceful, much more useful than other hairy man Gu immortals. Then I will exchange for some first. We can slowly go about this. Fang Yuan intentionally revealed a distressed expression. Fang Yuan's current sect contribution points were indeed a lot. He had solved the matter with the Falling Star Hound, earning 1,000 sect contribution points at once. And this time, he had discovered the allied tribes of Snowmen and Rockmen, and succeeded in spurring the Four Races Alliance. The sect contribution points for this were also nearly 1,000. As such, Fang Yuan's Lang Ya's sect contribution points numbered over 2,000 points. But calculating it, 2,000 contribution points were still too little to exchange for the rank 8 immortal material. Heavenly crystals. At this moment, Langya Land Spirit suggested another mission for Fang Yuan. Aren't you familiar with domination immortal Chudu? Rope him into our Langya sect, make him rebel against the humans, and become one of us. I can give you another 1,000 sect contribution points if you do this. Chapter 1148, Temporary Rest. Fang Yuan's divine sense was roaming in treasure, yellow heaven. Oh. His divine sense stopped for a moment that a Gu Immortal's will was at the side, with a mountain of goods behind him. These are all slippery soil? Fang Yuan took the initiative and asked. Han Yu's Gu Immortal will awaken from slumber. Seeing a customer, he quickly said, "These are all slippery soil." After reporting the price, he asked, "Sir, how much are you buying?" Slippery soil was a type of rank 5 material. The soil was very fertile. Fang Yuan nodded mentally. This was a very appropriate price. It was even lower than the normal market price. He needed this soil anyway. He said, "I'll take them all." Han Yu's will shook. "Everything? I have a huge stock." Fang Yuan confirmed, "Yes, everything. 202 immortal essence stones. That is the price, right?" Han Yu's will quickly nodded. "Yes, yes. Inside treasure yellow heaven. Any form of goods would have treasure light emitting from them." Fang Yuan could estimate the price by looking at the treasure light and the goods themselves. He was a wisdom path grandmaster. After all, let's trade. Fang Yuan said quickly, All right. Han Yu's will quickly nodded and responded. The situation was out of his expectations. He was only a rank 6 Gu Immortal who had passed one heavenly tribulation. He was trying hard in developing his blessed land. He wanted to sell the slippery soil in his blessed land. And because of his past experiences, he even lowered the price by a little. To think that it was going to be sold out so quickly, this was great news to him. Han Yu's will carried 202 immortal essence stones. The entire will's body was shaking. He was very excited. In my previous life, I was just like this. Fang Yuan saw this and sighed internally. Han Yu was the norm among most rank 6 Gu Immortals. Fang Yuan, during his previous life, had even been inferior because he was a blood path Gu Immortal. But it was different now. Just the guts Gu trade, which was a monopoly, was bringing him immense profits. After taking the resources of Fang Grotto Heaven, Fang Yuan's own wealth had reached an unprecedented level. Not just 200 immortal essence stones. He could take out 2,000 without batting an eyelid. All in all, Fang Yuan's financial situation was quite good now. After buying the slippery soil, Fang Yuan moved his divine sense around and went to buy several types of soil. After reaching his goal, Fang Yuan withdrew his divine sense and brought the soils back to the sovereign immortal aperture. He controlled the strength path immortal zombies. They scattered the soils into different areas of Mini Southern Border in the sovereign immortal aperture. The scenery in Mini Southern Border had already drastically changed. Forests were everywhere, causing greenery to overwhelm the lands. Tall ancient trees and pine trees, the straight cottonwood, the short shrubs, and an uncountable number of grass and flowers made Mini Southern Border vivid and full of life all of a sudden. These were just ordinary plants. There were lots of high-grade resources mixed in among them. Like the musical trees, they were in the greatest quantity. This type of tree had curvy branches. They were quite unique. There were birds on the branches, mostly chi death birds. They had distinct calls and chirped loudly. Originally, Mini Southern Border was completely empty, but it was quite lively now. Other than birds, there were lots of deer, squirrels, monkeys, snakes, tigers, and other animals. They formed into a proper ecological cycle. Originally, Mini Southern Border only had a few mountains, but now, there were more than 10 mountains here. These mountains were all moved in by Fang Yuan from Fang Grotto Heaven. Ordinary Gu Immortals could not move mountains, but his pulling mountain immortal Gu could be used for this. Right now, among the mountains, the tallest one was Immortal Succession Mountain. The stone pavilions were still on the mountain. Fang Yuan did not remove them, but the inheritances inside were all taken away. After a long time, Fang Yuan finally finished controlling all of the immortal zombies to scatter the soil at their proper locations. Fang Yuan observed for a while before stopping in satisfaction. With these soils, these plants would be able to grow well for some time. Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture had few earth path down marks. The space was also very big. It had 5 regions and 9 heavens. Many southern border could not have many Earth Path Down marks after they were distributed. With few Earth Path Down marks, Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture would not have mountains forming. The soil would not be thick or fertile. The vegetation in many southern border was almost completely from He Fan Grotto Heaven. Inside He Fan Grotto Heaven, these plants and trees were growing well. They were dense and green. But after moving into Fang Yuan's sovereign immortal aperture, because of the sparse Earth Path Down marks, they were drying out and appeared to be lacking nutrients. Fang Yuan could only buy lots of fertile soil, like slippery soil, to scatter them in many southern border, resolving the problem. But this does not solve the underlying issue. These different soils will turn into ordinary soil after some time. The Earth Path Down marks in them would dissipate. These soils were just mortal goo materials. They had fragmented Earth Path Down marks in them. After the grass and trees absorbed the nutrients, these scattered Earth Path Down marks would mostly vanish. Only by undergoing tribulation or absorbing the down marks of an Earth Path Goo immortal to increase the Earth Path Down marks in the immortal aperture can I resolve the problem. Fang Yuan knew this clearly. Fang Yuan could not undergo the fifth earthly calamity in the northern icy plain anymore. This time, he could choose to go southern border or any place with rich Earth Path Down marks for his tribulation, hoping to encounter an Earth Path earthly calamity. Once he encountered an Earth Path earthly calamity, after going through it, Fang Yuan's problem would be alleviated as for killing an Earth Path Goo immortal to absorb their down marks. It was not easy. Earth Path Goo immortals with low cultivation level did not have many Earth Path Down marks, and those with high cultivation level were too strong. There was too great of a risk for Fang Yuan to deal with them. Until now, Fang Yuan had already gone through 4 earthly calamities. The first was the snow monster calamity. There were iron crown eagles, ruined bats, and others. The second was the wind flowers and snow moons calamity. The third was the spring dawn jade orioles and giant disaster blazing trees. The fourth was the profound white flying salt calamity. Because the sovereign immortal aperture surpassed the 10 extreme physiques combined, Heaven's will was wary of it. During each earthly calamity, it would increase the strength of the earthly calamity to the greatest limit allowed. Earthly calamities of such difficulty greatly surpassed other Goo immortals by several or even over a dozen times. Thus, Fang Yuan also made incredible gains. He obtained more than a dozen times the down marks each tribulation. As a result, Fang Yuan had the highest number of ice and snow path down marks, followed by transformation path, strength path, chi path, rule path. There were also some from luck path, blood path, and others. The entire sovereign immortal aperture had improved drastically after obtaining He Fan Grotto Heaven's resources, because the space was huge. At the moment, only mini southern border was quite lively. Even though the other areas had some resources, they did not have such a complete ecosystem as mini southern border. There were many desolate beasts, giant horned sheep, shark fin wolves, dragonfish, eagle hounds, and others. In terms of ancient desolate beasts, he had remnant heavenly dogs and a falling star hound, infant. He also had an immemorial desolate beast. That was the upper extreme heavenly eagle, but it had turned into an egg already. There were some desolate plants too. He even had an ancient desolate plant. That was the walking meat tree. All in all, Fang Yuan's accumulated resources currently matched Goo immortals at the peak of rank 7. Chudu was probably similar to Fang Yuan now. As for Feng Jiuge, he was heavily nurtured by a super force. Fang Yuan was still inferior to him. After scattering the soil, Fang Yuan's concentration returned to souls searching the captive Goo immortals' souls. Fang Yuan's immortal aperture had many Goo immortal captives. In fact, there were many Goo immortal souls. The focus of his soul search this time was on the 9 Goo immortal souls in He Fan Grotto Heaven. Feng Jun's luck path true inheritance and Chun Li's concealment method were quite impressive. Fang Yuan was interested in them. You are not He Chung. Who are you? You unscrupulous scoundrel. Kill me if you dare. Spare me. Please spare me. As long as you resurrect me, I will be your most loyal servant. Among these Goo immortal souls, some questioned him, some cursed him and wanted to die, while some wanted to survive. Fang Yuan did not conceal himself as He Chung anymore. After all, familiar face also needed to consume immortal essence, An attitude Gu needed to use his mental energy. Towards these Gu immortals' cries, Fang Yuan ignored them. He soul-searched them without pause. Every day, he would soul-search them for a period of time. In about 3 days, I will be done searching the memories of these souls. I would know everything about them. After his soul-searching, Fang Yuan collated his gains. Retracting his mind, he left the Cloud City, moving towards Luo Pa Valley. There, his soul went out of his body, as he underwent tough soul path cultivation. Fang Yuan had already used Dang Hun Mountain and Luo Pa Valley for some time. His soul foundation had already reached dozens of times as before. However, he was still not confident of placing his soul into his original body. This problem is the most troublesome. Even if my soul foundation increases, it is still hard to avoid shadow sects' possible hidden methods. Who knows? Ing Wu Xie's arrangements might become stronger if my soul has greater foundation. Perhaps the stronger my soul, the deeper shadow sect's trap. Ing Wu Xie knows I have Luo Pa Valley and Dang Hun Mountain. When setting the trap, there is no way he did not consider these details. His daily soul cultivation ended. Fang Yuan's soul returned to his body. He stood up shakily. He had a grim expression. As long as he could use wisdom Gu, his strength would increase at an explosive rate. Many development problems he was facing now were related to wisdom Gu. As long as he could use wisdom Gu, many problems would be resolved instantly. I have wisdom Gu and the strength path immortal zombie body. I just need that final key. Fang Yuan mentally sighed helplessly. Just like this, Fang Yuan stayed in Langya blessed land for 7 days that he cultivated unceasingly. He did not relax for even a minute. His soul foundation grew again. He completely searched the souls of the 9 Gu immortals. Fang Yuan also used half of his Langya sect contribution points to trade for some heavenly crystals and even put up some Gu refinement missions. Self-will Gu, year Gu, month Gu, day Gu, as well as all the other mortal Gu. He needed a huge quantity of them. He would rather spend sect contribution points to get these mortal Gu, getting the hairy man Gu masters and Gu immortals to refine them for him. This could save him a lot of time and energy. 7 days later, he left Langya blessed land, heading for Eastern Sea. Chapter 1149, Desiring the Information Path Inheritance. The great winds blew, carrying the salty flavor of the sea water. Fang Yuan sat on top of a cloud. He traveled quickly while splitting his attention towards the information path mortal Gu in his hand. This mortal Gu was from Bingjua, the snowman Gu immortal who dual-wielded spears and was skilled at close combat. He told Fang Yuan in the letter. The ice tear had significant meaning to the snowman tribe. It was not just a Gu refinement material, it was the token of one's love. Humph. Fang Yuan smiled coldly. He crushed that information path mortal Gu in his hands. Pure white clouds carried him on his journey. The wind caused his hair to flutter in the sky. He had a fair face like jade. He was extremely handsome, almost enchanting. His dark abyss-like eyes looked down at the deep blue sea, showing traces of cold flickering light. How could Fang Yuan not know about the meaning of the ice tear to the snowman? Don't forget, he was someone who had lived for 500 years. Even though his cultivation level was not high, his knowledge was definitely vast. Not just the ice tear, Fang Yuan had deep knowledge regarding the wine culture of variant humans. During the earlier banquet, Sixth Hair accused Fang Yuan of not knowing about the variant human drinking culture. In fact, Fang Yuan was just pretending to not know. He was probing the attitude of the snowmen and rockmen. Sometimes, acting ignorant allows someone to have more options. The matter of the ice tear was like this. Fang Yuan pretended to be unaware, but he knew it clearly on the inside. Accepting the ice tear was accepting Shui Er's love. But if he did not accept it, he would ruin the cooperative relationship between himself and the snowmen and rockmen. Getting together with Shui Er? The disadvantages were greater than the advantages. The snowman tribe was after Fang Yuan's rank 8 battle strength from the upper extreme heavenly eagle, disregarding how much benefits Fang Yuan could gain from the snowman tribe. Just this point alone, he could not fulfill it. The upper extreme heavenly eagle had already become an egg. Even though Fang Yuan spent a portion of his Langya sect contribution points to get some heavenly crystals, the amount was not enough. He could not hatch the upper extreme heavenly eagle egg yet. Marrying Shui heir would tie me closely to the snowman tribe. We would be sure to establish a marriage agreement. Right now, I already have Lang Sect's agreement and Chu Du's alliance agreement. There is also the alliance agreement of the 4 races. My freedom is greatly limited now. If I add in the marriage agreement, aren't I just finding problems for myself? While Fang Yuan benefited from these alliance agreements, he also had to undergo missions for them in return. For example, if Lang Ye blessed land was attacked by enemies, Fang Yuan would have to reinforce them and fight to his death if needed. Lang Ye land spirit followed the rules. Because the land spirit was not crafty like humans, it followed the rules of Lang Ye sect closely and did not restrict Fang Yuan. But the snowman tribe was different. They were variant humans. Their intelligence was lower than humans. But after being suppressed for so many years and living pitifully in the northern icy plain, the immense pressure for survival had honed their strong battle strength and keen perception. If Fang Yuan wanted to marry a snowman, the snowman tribe would do everything they could to squeeze out Fang Yuan's value. By then, Fang Yuan would unable to help himself. The snowmen and rockmen live under the northern icy plain. The rockmen have the immemorial rock dragon. It has rank 8 battle strength, but the snowmen do not. Thus, they want me to marry Shui heir, so that they can also have rank 8 battle strength and contest evenly with the rockman tribe. Do not look at how cohesive the rockmen and snowmen were when attending to Fang Yuan. Were they really living in such harmony? The 2 sides were living under the icy plain, sharing a tiny area together. How could there not be conflicts? They were 2 different races after all. But because of the big picture, they maintained reason and tolerated each other. One could imagine that the rockman tribe, with the immemorial rock dragon, would usually win when there were conflicts. The snowmen must have suffered many losses, but they endured it all along. The rockman tribe had greater status after all. This could be seen from many small details during the alliance. For example, the Gu immortal Shizong usually was the first to speak, instead of the snowman Gu immortals. If I marry Shui heir, no, even if I just accept her feelings, it would mean that I am siding with the snowmen. Unavoidably, I would be involved in the conflict between both the rockmen and snowmen. Once there were internal conflicts, Shui heir would find Fang Yuan and hope that he would mediate their conflicts. As an ally, he could not reject them. But the rockman tribe gave Fang Yuan more benefits. After all, they were trading guts Gu. How could Fang Yuan ruin his relationship with the rockmen just because of a woman and cause his gains to be smaller? These last days, not just Bingzhu's letter, he had also obtained letters from other Inkmen, Snowman, and Rockman Gu immortals, including Shui heir. Their intent was to rope in Fang Yuan. Rank 8 battle strength was simply too alluring. The reason why Fang Yuan left Northern Plains and went to Eastern Sea was to avoid these Gu immortals. It also meant that he could avoid many problems in the future. I am purely making use of these variant humans. But our relationship is uncontrollably deepening. Once any mishaps happen, I will die along with them. I need to leave and gain freedom so that I can retreat with ease. Fang Yuan was well aware of the situation. Furthermore, Lang Ye land spirit was showing the intention of recruiting Chu Du. This made Fang Yuan feel great threat. Should Chu Du join, it would greatly affect Fang Yuan's status in Lang Ye sect. The reason why Lang Ye land spirit wanted to recruit Chu Du was also worth considering. Even though Lang Ye land spirit gave him this mission, Fang Yuan decided to stall it. He was not going to be so stupid as to wholeheartedly try recruiting Chu Du. Eastern Sea information path inheritance. Fang Yuan thought to himself. This was one of the reasons why he was in Eastern Sea, that if Fang Yuan could obtain a method from this information path inheritance to get rid of the restrictions of the alliance agreements, that would be best. Fang Yuan would gain the complete initiative within his alliances. However, this information path inheritance was only his secondary objective. Fang Yuan had another primary goal. Several days later, Eastern Sea, turbulent flow sea area. Spare me. I surrender. Lu Qingyu was kneeling on the ground. He was covered in injuries. He had no will to fight. He was a rank 7 lone immortal. He even collaborated with 3 rank 6 comrades. Just now Tio think that they would be ambushed in this turbulent flow sea area. The 3 rank 6 Gu immortals that he invited were already dead. Their enemies were 4 mysterious Gu immortals. Lu Qingyu was considerably knowledgeable, but he had never heard of these 4 strong experts in the entire Eastern Sea Gu Immortal world. These 4 were all very unique. The one with the highest cultivation level had rank 7 aura, but he was a Rockman Gu immortal. The other three were rank 6 Gu immortals. One was a beautiful and bold female immortal, one was a kindly old man, and one was an ordinary-looking immortal zombie, no matter which one. They were formidable Gu immortal experts. But the strange thing to Lu Qingyu was, their leader was not the Rockman Gu immortal, or the bold female immortal, or the old man. It was the ordinary rank 6 immortal zombie. Oh? Surrendering. Hee, you know your place. The rank 6 immortal zombie rubbed his chin, saying as he chuckled that if Fang Yuan were here, he would know who this person was. That's right. It was Ing Wuxia. Humph, a spineless coward. No wonder he was not my match. We should kill him and give Shernu some earth path down marks. He Lulan was covered in orange flames. The Rockman Gu immortal Shernu had no expression. He looked at Ing Wuxia as he said slowly, I will listen to master. No, no. Lu Qingyu quickly shouted. He had a frantic and helpless expression. Even though I am a rank 7 Gu immortal, my immortal Gu are only rank 6. However, Fairy, you have rank 7 immortal Gu and even so many fire path killer moves, it was no wonder I could not defeat you. Ing Wuxia laughed, waving his hand. Right now, my shadow sect needs members. I will give you a chance to live. Do not resist. I will use an immortal killer move to make the alliance agreement. Thank you, Lord, for sparing my life. Thank you, Lord, for sparing my life. Lu Qingyu was overjoyed. He was crying as he kowtowed continuously. Ing Wuxia's alliance agreement was extremely strict. But Lu Qingyu wanted to survive. Everything else was secondary. It is a soul path method indeed. He Lulan observed on the side. Ing Wuxia used a soul path method to achieve the effects of information path. It was like Fang Yuan's 100 years harmony. It could unleash the effects of another path. From now on, you are a member of Shadow Sect. Get up. After making the alliance agreement, Ing Wuxia smiled. Lord, I am willing to offer my immortal Gu. Lu Qingyu did not get up. He held his 2 rank 6 immortal Gu above his head. Ing Wuxia laughed. I do not care for these 2 immortal Gu. You can keep them. In the future, if you perform well, I can grant you rank 7 immortal Gu, or even true inheritances. That is not a problem. Thank you, Lord, for your kindness. Lu Qingyu was overjoyed with tears. Speaking of which, this place is so remote, and there are many islands around us. Why are you here at this island? Ing Wuxia asked. He was suspicious that his movements were exposed. Lu Qingyu heard this and smiled bitterly. Lord, this is all a misunderstanding. I was just trying to find a place to rest. Sigh, I will have to explain from the start. In this turbulent flow sea area, I found the clues to an information path true inheritance. It turned out that back then, Lu Qingyu chased after the blood path demonic immortal, wanting to get his information path inheritance clues. In the end, he killed this person and had no gains. The 2 other rank 7 Gu immortals became suspicious of him instead. Thinking about it, he felt that Fang Yuan was the most suspicious. The information path true inheritance clues were likely in his hands. Lu Qingyu could not let it go. He brought a group of Gu immortals and entered turbulent flow sea areas secretly, attempting to find the clues or wait for Fang Yuan to arrive. After hearing Lu Qingyu's story, He Lulan, Ing Wuxia, and the others smiled. This Lu Qingyu was simply too unlucky. He wanted to find a place to rest, but he ended up going towards Shadow Sect's secret base instead. Ing Wuxia's expression suddenly changed. Wait, the Gu immortal who you were suspicious of earlier, what was his appearance? Chapter 1150, Turbulent Flow Sea Battle, 1/2. Lu Qingyu repeated his words from before. Ing Wuxia's expression turned grim very quickly. Fang Yuan had used familiar face when traveling from southern border to northern plains. He had concealed his appearance. But familiar face could not conceal immortal Gu effects or immortal killer moves. When he was in Eastern Sea, Fang Yuan had fought with Lu Qingyu, Tang Song, and Zhou Li. He unavoidably revealed some methods. Even though Ing Wuxia did not know Fang Yuan's appearance at that time, from Lu Qingyu's description, he felt a sense of familiarity. Following his intuition, he probed, and Lu Qingyu described this opponent in greater detail. Flying Sword Immortal Gu, Sword Escape Immortal Gu, Ing Wuxia thought to himself. Looking at the timing, it matched perfectly. Ying Wuxia felt that the Gu immortal who Lu Qingyu fought was very likely to be Fang Yuan. It is quite coincidental. I actually got information about Fang Yuan like this. Heaven's will. Ying Wuxia raised his head, looking at the sky. The turbulent flow sea area's sky was covered in clouds and fog the entire time. At this moment, Ying Wuxia could feel that beyond these clouds, Heaven's will was looking at him closely. For Heaven's will, be it Fang Yuan, who has the sovereign immortal aperture, or spectral soul demon venerable, who is attempting to defy fate by reviving and reaching the apex again. They were targets to suppress and eliminate. Of course, in the past, spectral soul was the biggest target, but now, Fang Yuan was the one who attracted its attention the most. But currently, Heaven's will was making an arrangement, attempting to lure Fang Yuan and Ying Wuxia together so that they would fight each other. This was a method that killed two birds with one stone. It was a plan that saved a lot of effort. Ying Wuxia assessed this as he transmitted secretly to He Lulan. He Lulan was slightly dazed. She did not find anything wrong earlier because she was not familiar with flying sword and sword escape. After reacting, she was a little shocked. Ying Wuxia discovered something so significant. He is actually discussing with me? But soon, He Lulan realized if she were in Ying Wuxia's position, she would do the same thing herself to analyze the situation. Until now, Tai Bai Yunsheng was still kept in the dark. Shi Nu had absolute loyalty, but he was a variant human. He could not think as flexibly. She herself had the Shadow Sect alliance agreement. She was bound to Ying Wuxia. She had no choice but to plot together with him. Dealing with Fang Yuan. He Lulan had complex emotions. She had a rather complex relationship with Fang Yuan. They were enemies at first, before becoming allies, but now with a twist of fate, they were enemies again. Even He Lulan had to admit it herself. Fang Yuan was a huge help and had great influence on her. But soon, He Lulan calmed down and transmitted. Your analysis makes sense, but you only guessed Fang Yuan's identity. How can you be sure he will come here? Just because of the information path true inheritance? Not only is the information path inheritance's crucial clue gone, even if he obtained it, what does that have to do with us? He might not come here and encounter us. Ying Wuxia smiled coldly. That is because you don't understand Heaven's will. Earlier, to obstruct Fang Yuan, Heaven's will made a plan. That was to lure Fang Yuan with the information path true inheritance. But Fang Yuan is crafty and vigilant. He did not fall into the trap. He went to northern plains without stopping. This was a wise decision. Heaven's will's arrangements inside the turbulent flow sea area were completely wasted. Ying Wuxia's understanding was a little off. The truth was, Fang Yuan did not sense the information path true inheritance's clues back then. After all, the clue was concealed in flying sword immortal Gud. Of course, even if Fang Yuan found them, with his personality, it would not have slowed down his return to Langya blessed land. Right now, Fang Yuan obtained He Fan's true inheritance and has gained immense strength. But he is in Langya's sect and has recently been added to the Four Races Alliance. He also has an alliance agreement with Chu Du. He has huge needs in the information path aspect. Thus, he is likely to come here, following the true inheritance's clues to obtain this information path inheritance. Ying Wuxia continued. Undoubtedly, suffering and setbacks were of value in life. Ying Wuxia had gone through many difficulties. His mind was sharper and more vigilant now. He had the demeanor of an expert. He Lulan was quite familiar with Fang Yuan's situation. The intel that Fang Yuan had exposed reached Ying Wuxia through sixth hair, in order to draw out He Lulan's hatred towards Fang Yuan. Ying Wuxia had told her a portion of the information. He Lulan's eyes burst out with brilliance. She had an understanding. You mean to say, Lu Qingyu is a reminder to us from Heaven's will? That's right. Lu Qingyu might have chosen this place by coincidence, but he was actually subconsciously influenced by Heaven's will. He purposely chose our island. It is too much of a coincidence. Heaven's will probably thinks that the trap earlier can no longer affect Fang Yuan, who has gotten much stronger. Thus, it wants to make use of us to deal with Fang Yuan. Ying Wuxia looked at the sky, showing a cold smile. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. Shadow Sect had opposed Heaven's will for so many years. Ying Wuxia was naturally aware about Heaven's will's goals and schemes. Then, We can use this chance to ambush Fang Yuan. Aren't you trying to get back the sovereign immortal body? He Lulan transmitted. Ing Wu Xie turned around, looking at He Lulan. The two were secretly transmitting to each other. They did not talk for long. The other three immortals only saw Ing Wu Xie looking at the sky for a while, before he turned around and walked back. Ing Wu Xie did not speak. He took huge steps, leading the way. Behind him, Shirnu, Tai by Yun Sheng, and He Lulan followed after. Lu Qingyu, who was kneeling on the ground, was dazed. He quickly got up and followed behind them closely. He Lulan. Ing Wu Xie suddenly transmitted. If we can capture Fang Yuan this time, I will grant you freedom. He Lulan's body and mind shook, but soon, she reacted, replying, only a child would be fooled by that. Would you willingly let go of my battle strength? Ha ha ha, you truly know me well, Lulan. Ing Wu Xie laughed, admitting it openly. How will you deal with Fang Yuan? He has rank 8 battle strength. He Lulan asked. Ing Wu Xie's smile faded. He sighed. He Lulan could hear the helplessness in his tone. Next, she heard Ing Wu Xie. I am not going to deal with him. The immemorial upper extreme heavenly eagle is very hard to deal with. No, we can. If we use that secluded domain of heaven and earth, can't we succeed? He Lulan asked. You really want him to die? I remember that you have gone through thick and thin before. Every man for himself. If he dies or is defeated, there are only advantages to me. There are no disadvantages. He Lulan showed a cold, killing intent. Ing Wu Xie rejected this alluring suggestion. Even if we use that place, my goal cannot be achieved. I need to capture Fang Yuan alive. The material needs to be fresh. If we use that place, we can only make the upper extreme heavenly eagle lose its threat temporarily. Furthermore, even if we could, I would not do it. Ing Wu Xie smiled. He Lulan, why? Not considering the big picture is simply short-sighted. Like how Fang Yuan did not take the information path inheritance earlier. As long as we save my main body, we will have a great advantage. My memories are limited. If we fight with Fang Yuan now, we will be falling into heaven's will's trap. We will leave Eastern Sea. However, before leaving, we can leave behind some arrangements as a present for Fang Yuan. He. Ing Wu Xie transmitted a laugh. A day later. I am finally here. Turbulent flow sea area. Fang Yuan stood on a cloud. He looked at this sea area as he sighed. Rumors said that there was an intense battle between Gu immortals here. There were no rank 8 experts among the participating Gu immortals, but there were many rank 6 and 7 Gu immortals. Because their battle was too intense, the Tao marks carved in this area caused a change in the environment. In the end, a unique place in Eastern Sea, turbulent flow sea area, was created. Because of this reason, there were many Gu immortal inheritances hidden inside the turbulent flow sea area, or their wealth left behind after death. In history, there were lucky people who obtained Gu immortal inheritances inside the turbulent flow sea area. Even though the lucky people were few, these rumors caused many people to be attracted to this sea area. Many Eastern Sea Gu immortals, as well as Gu immortals of Central Continent, Northern Plains and Southern Border, would often come to the turbulent flow sea area to search for fortuitous encounters. Fang Yuan's gaze swept across the sea water. The turbulent flow sea area's water was very unique. The surface was calm, but there were many undercurrents below. These currents were of all types and forms. They interlinked with one another. They moved in this sea area with absolutely no rhythm or pattern. Precisely because of this, Gu immortals called this the turbulent flow sea area. Fang Yuan looked at the sky again. The sky had many white clouds, shrouding his vision. He could not see any starlight. Even when the sun was blazing, the sunlight could not penetrate the cloud layers. It only made the place brighter. When Gu immortals entered the turbulent flow sea area, they often lost their sense of direction. These cloud layers were one of the causes. Because of the clouds, Gu immortals could not determine their precise location. It was impossible to get rid of these clouds. To do that, one was contesting against heaven and earth. Gu immortals with such abilities were at least rank 8 great experts. They were very rare. Paying a huge price to destroy these clouds would also destroy the turbulent flow sea area. To them, it was not worth the effort at all. Breathing in deeply, Fang Yuan's aura surged as immortal Gu aura burst out from within him. Immortal Investigative Killer Move. Qi Luck Sensation. This move was obtained from Feng Yuan's inheritance. It used Qi Luck Immortal Goo as the core. It could sense people who were closely connected by luck to the Goo Immortal user. The closer the distance, the clearer the effects. Oh, they are nearby? They are in the turbulent flow C area?